day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good week, good month, good life. This is the Long Shot Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Amber Kenny, and I'm here with the other host of the podcast, Sean Conroy.
Good desk. How do you do?
I'm well, thank you. How about you?
I'm good. I'm doing well.
Okay.
I got a text today from one of my brothers, and there's a couple of layers to the text he sent me, and I'll start with the superficial layer. Now, I've said before on this show that some of my brothers listen to the podcast at times, which is great. I'm happy they do that. You know, they sort of keep up with what's going on in my bizarre little corner of the sky.
But then it becomes, it's a strangely one-sided.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's like they know everything.
I haven't talked to you in so long, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know everything."
Yeah. But he sent me via text a photograph of a stack of books that were copies of the graphic novel Mouse.
Oh, wow.
Which we discussed on a previous episode. I think it was just last week.
I think so too. It's been a long week, though.
It's been crazily long. Yeah. But anyway, he clearly listened to that episode, and he was looking. So just to back up a second, this is my brother who is a school administrator, works in a high school. So texted me this stack of this photo of, he didn't text me the stack of books. He texted me a photo of the stack of books, which is, like, philosophically speaking, a representation of,
of mice. Would it be mice at that instance because there's more than one of them?
Right. Well, yes. It was philosophically, it was a representation of mice, but I meant the photograph is just a representation of books. The photograph itself is not the books. It is, but
this is not a pipe.
Right. That said, I did go sit in on I don't know what you call it, like a Q&A or a lecture. And actually, I think it was supposed to be a Q&A, but it turned into a lecture with Art Spiegelman, the guy who wrote the graphic novel. The cartoonist who I talked about, who is just a character. Again, like he was in this Q&A, and he was just vaping the entire time, which just always makes me laugh. There's something funny about that. It says, I mean, this is not true, but you look at a person who is vaping and you feel like you know a lot about that person's personality. It's
a very specific behavior. Like, yes. if you were an actor and you decided to incorporate that to a character, it's very specific.
Right. It's like Sherlock Holmes with his pipe. Like it's defines the character.
Right.
But so it was interesting. He talked a lot about the book in Tennessee and what was happening, and the problem, which I guess I was kind of alluding to last week, but the problem being almost just pure stupidity as opposed to anti-Semitism or
right.
Like again, the idea of nude mice came up, and I don't get it, and he was talking about like the one thing that's in the book that they're describing as this is nude mice is his mother has just killed herself and is in a bathtub, like, anyway, so crazy.
Yeah. And it's funny to be so dumb that you are, like, accidentally anti-Semitic, like.
Right. Right. And I guess a part of it also that he was talking about was like that they were in their minutes, which again, I read, but they're so dense and there's so much of them that I was not paying close enough attention to get all the the levels of it. But one of the things was that they were like, yeah, the Holocaust was bad. And that I'm with that.
I'm down with
get
that.
it. Yeah. Like I get it. And I'm fine with kids learning about
that. Can we get over it?
Well, no. But it's like, why do we have to hear about the part before that where his father's having an affair and the part after that where other stuff is happening after the Holocaust is over?
A life and humanity.
They were people. Yeah. Right. Can't we just say the Holocaust was a bad thing that happened and blah, 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 as opposed to like personalizing it in some way, which, Anyway, so he was talking about that, but it was funny because he is such a character. And he just was talking like clearly the two moderators. Just on and on and on and on, which was great.
Where were you? What was the?
It was online. It was, I don't know. Everybody. It was in line. Yes. I was in line to watch it online and then I got in and I watched it online. But it was, they were all in different locations. Like he was wherever he lived. I think these people were in Tennessee, whoever they were some kind of, in fact,
like the good guys in Tennessee.
Well, they were a Jewish organization, they were some kind of, and I don't remember them. I should have done all this research before the show, but I don't remember the name of the group, but so they were, clearly very upset about it, but they were like, well, can we introduce this guy who made the book? And he talked for 20 minutes straight after that. And then he was like, he goes, which I loved. He goes, I'm sorry to just monopolize the conversation, but I know you guys, if you want to ask a question or whatever, and then he just kept on talking for another 20 minutes.
That's kind of amazing though. It's a talent because I mean, we have to egg each other on just to talk at all.
Look, he's the anti Jamie Flam. Yeah. But it was, anyway, it was interesting. In fact, I just realized I should have said this earlier, but one of our listeners is the person who sent me the link to the thing. So I appreciate that. But this is the part that gets upsetting is he sent me this text with the photo of the copies of the books.
We've had
back to that
a bunch of subjects
right
in the sentences. So just for clarification, we're talking about your brother.
Because he went into I guess you would just call it a book closet in his school, like a storage room. Like, I don't know if you
to burn or something.
Right. Soon we'll get to this. So I don't know if you've ever, do you remember those places in school? Like, here's the thing. When I was teaching school, I would always go in the book closet early in the year because you just never knew if you were going to find like an unopened box of pristine textbooks that had just been completely forgotten about that would complete the set that they just didn't have the budget to complete. So all the kids are going to have to share a book so they can't bring it home and do homework or anything. But meanwhile, there's
disorganization.
Or there's like chairs, like whatever it is, there's always like stuff in there. So that kind of came back to me. That's not why he was in there. He was in there because he was in lockdown because of a school shooter.
Oh my fucking God.
They got a call. I don't know who, the school got a call that there was a school shooter. Somebody was going to shoot up the school. They went into lockdown. He was with another administrator and a student in the closet for 4 hours while the police showed up and slowly started going through the building and making sure that there was nobody there. And it worked out fine. It turned out it was a hoax. Nobody was injured.
Funny joke, everybody.
Right. But I just, it starts the whole cycle in your head of like, what the fuck? Because now, I mean, those kids were in that school from 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 5:30 by the time they were evacuated and sent home. So they just show up tomorrow and go back to school,
Insane.
Because the Second Amendment gives me the right to have a gun and guns. And let's not, And I'm sure I'll hear the whole story at some point from him, but it sounded fucking terrifying, you know?
Well, yeah, and just this is like the most practical, boring surface question, but it's what came to my head. But if he was in a closet, like they're not eating, they're not going to the bathroom.
Right. They can't leave the room.
Ugh.
And I don't know the full story, but he just sent a text to all of us that at one point it was like, and I don't know if this happened earlier in the middle or when or what, but there was like a student in the bathroom who had not responded to the lockdown thing. So him and his associate had to go to the bathroom and go like, hey, we're in lockdown. You need to come out and go into this area, you know, whatever. And then there was another student in the stall in the bathroom who wasn't responding. And he was like, him and his colleague were like, I don't want to go in there. Like, this could be the person who's supposedly doing this stuff. So I'm not going to go in.
Also, I get the idea of a kid being scared of and frozen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fucking horrible. And so anyway, it was very I don't know. I feel for those kids, and I feel for him, and I hate that this is the fucking world we live in.
The norm.
You know? So go donate to Gabby Giffords' organization or to the Parkland Kids organization or something. I mean, I have not done that yet, but I will tonight because, you know, they're at least trying to do something. I'm not saying you should go do that, Amber. I'm saying
I will.
If you're listening and you feel some anger or compassion or whatever. So anyway, that was something that happened. What's going on with you, Amber? We always start the show with a segment we like to call checking in.
We haven't started that yet.
Well, no, that's not.
You're good at like the pre-check-in.
Yeah. Oh, I love the pre-check. The pre-check-in is the best because then you don't have to worry about checking in. You just walk right through, you know?
I save it, you know? You don't get anything check-in. That's not Hi, buddy.
So what's going on with you?
So
sorry. Before we get to that, I just wanted to say one more thing that I thought was really funny, and I totally forgot to say this. So when I was watching this guy, Art Spiegelman, talking about writing mouse, I don't even remember how it came up, but at one point he just goes, so anyway, I guess my collaborator, Adolf Hitler, and I had this similar experience, you know, like it was just funny that he was talking about
my muse.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
It's true. The art wouldn't have been possible without him. Yeah, checking in. I don't know. I'm attempting to have a lighthearted checking in, but it also dawns on me how much it sounds like we're in wartime. That I'm like, I went to a movie. like it's so crazy and so novel.
Yeah.
But it was so crazy and so novel. I went to a movie on Friday, and I was a movie or a novel? It was a movie.
Okay.
Based
from
on
a novel.
Yeah. And I was conflicted about it. Again, we've talked about all of this ad nauseum, but West Side Story is a movie that it's a very good. The original is very good. I don't know if you've seen it. I know that you have.
Just give me the gist of what it's about. I may remember having. Yeah.
But a group of my girlfriends, we were trying to make plans to see it in December when it came out, and it was just
when Omicron was
exactly, and it was like oh, that it doesn't seem prudent, and we've tried several times. And
were you guys texting each other and going, when do you think we should go? Tonight.
Yes. And or you know, like there were some. COVID was a big shadow in the plans, but there were like different life circumstance things.
Sure.
But anyway, we
scheduling is a nightmare for anything, especially during pandemics.
Right. Well, and also I found that, I don't know if you relate to this at all, but I was like, we went last Friday, and I was like, but Fridays I eat pizza and I watch Drag Race. And I know that's not
you have your routine. Yeah.
Like, it's not a real plan, but I was like, is this okay that I'm not doing that? Like, it's insane.
I get it. Like I was having a conversation with somebody today about like just going out, and this person was like, I went out to a place, but there were other people there, and I was uncomfortable because there were other people. Yes. And I was like, yeah, this is going to take a long time to get to the point where you're just like, oh, this is cool. Everybody's cool. It's cool. We're cool.
Are we going to get back to that?
Maybe not. I don't know.
But point is, I went with my girlfriends. We went to a movie at like 6:00 on a Friday.
Where did you go?
The Burbank, the big one in Burbank. So you have to like walk down that, it's kind of like a mini city walk. There's the Coldstone Creamery and the Yard
that's
House.
where I went to see a movie during the pandemic also.
Really?
Yeah, it's like,
and you go up the like huge set of stairs.
You're outside basically as you walk through the middle of this place to get like you park in a structure and then walk through all that. Yeah. That's where I went to see West Side Story. Yeah, no, Fast and Furious. Exactly right. It was Fast and Furious.
So I went with my girlfriends and we did drive together because I feel safe with them.
Right.
And that was nice. You know, like we got to catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
But we got there and the pandemic has affected things. I know I'm saying something that's shocking.
Elaborate, please. I'm not sure I follow.
So it was a Friday night at a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
There was one, like it's one of those ginormous box offices where there's 12 windows, you know what I mean? And like a Disneyland snake line so that they could really get people in and out. It's a huge movie theater with
it's a multiplex. They call it a multiplex.
It's like 15 screens.
It's not a plex, and it's not a diplex, and it's not a triplex.
It's multi.
Or quadplex or quintuplex. Yeah. No, I get it.
But it's set up so that they can service a ton of people at the same time. There was one person working. And no one was in line. It's a pandemic. But it still took us forever to, like, I think there was one person in front of us and it was like, are we going to miss the movie? Like, this is insane. Right. And they also have those kiosks where you can buy tickets yourself, like automated, but every single one of those was down.
Yeah.
And
well, I don't know if you know this, but the kiosks have been deeply affected. I mean, it's very easy for the kiosks have been refusing to get vaccinated.
Right.
So, you know, they've all gotten the virus.
Damn you, kiosks. But yeah, I think one of my friends was like, why is no one working? And I was like, no one's going to the movies. They're trying to make money and they probably cut everyone's hours. They like it's probably shoestring staff.
Yeah.
Like, because they have to make, like, I get it.
Right. Well, if you remember, because I can't believe you remember that I went to see Fast and Furious, but if you remember, one of the things that happened that night was Adam and I were the only people there, and there were like 9 people working surrounding us going, here's what you should get. You should get this special. We like this. This is da-da-da-da-da.
I had the opposite experience.
it was right in that sweet spot
where they're like, maybe people will start coming to the movies.
Getting vaccinated, and when Delta came out, you know, it was right in the middle of that, and then Delta happened, and then Omicron happened, and yeah, I'm sure you're right that they're like, the corporate overlords are like, we got to figure out how to survive this.
Yeah, we want to pay the least amount of people the least amount of time.
Yeah.
And then so we got our ticket, we went up, and they didn't ask because I've been to one other movie. I saw Licorice Pizza right before I went to Omaha. But they asked, like, I had to show my vaccination card. Everyone was wearing masks. It also was like an early screening of a very arty movie. Like, it just felt like we all feel the same way about vaccines. Like, it felt safe. But there was a loosey goosiness that that I didn't love, because there was we didn't have to show proof of vaccine. We just walked in, and like they say you have to wear a mask at all time, but you see people walking out of a theater like to go to the bathroom with it around their like it didn't feel strictly enforced.
Right. And you can also, if you're going to eat popcorn or whatever, you're allowed to take your mask off. Like, I just don't understand all that, but yes, I know what you're saying.
And I think we kind of hit on this previously before.
Prior?
Redundant. In
the past, you're saying.
But I also kind of get it psychologically. If you're working out in the public, you're desensitized to seeing people with or without masks on a regular basis.
Battles. Yeah.
Well, and I'm not. Like, everything is like, I'm a baby deer on stressful. Wobbly legs, you know, like, and so, and I don't know which of us is right or wrong, or maybe both, or maybe neither, but it's like
a lot of possibilities.
It didn't feel completely safe, but I just was like, I'm going to go with it. I got a popcorn, I got a soda, I got some red vines. Lampy brought in some canned margaritas. We had a real good time. The movie was fantastic. I kept getting emotional. Again,
when you guys were having a good time, were you like, this was a real nice clam bake and we all had a real good time. Oh, we've said it afore. Oh no, that's Carousel. Sorry.
Carousel is the weirdest show of all time.
Terrible. Freshman year of high school.
I think once I tried to tell the plot to Jeff, and I was like, you know what, forget, like, don't.
He beats his wife, he dies, he's in heaven, but then
They're
he comes
all back. Dead, but then they aren't.
Ugh. That's funny. My parents I forget why they were texting the other day, but they were watching Witness for the Prosecution, which is an Agatha Christie story, I think, and that was the other play we did freshman year in high school. So Carousel, I was just a fucking dude who went to the clam bake, you know? It was great because I don't know if you remember this song from Carousel. Blow high, blow low, a whale and we will go. Imagine you're a freshman in high school and you get to like make rude gestures and go blow me high and low. So, but then in Witness for the Prosecution, I was the judge when I was 13 or whatever. So I had like white hair and wrinkles painted on my face. And it was just making me laugh so hard thinking that I actually took that seriously and how fucking absurd that must have looked. You know?
Right. I was thinking about that recently. Oh, I know why. It was going to be a parting shot, but I'll come up with a new one. But I watched all of Station 11.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it was great. I cried like a baby. It's a whole thing. But they do Hamlet throughout.
Yeah.
And I was a theater major, and I was thinking about it's so fun. It's exactly what you're saying, but less intense. But in college, Abby played Gertrude.
I know Abby, yeah.
And her boyfriend played Hamlet. So she was playing her boyfriend's mom. And like, I feel like it's so funny because that shit only happens in like high school and college.
Yeah.
Because after that, you get cast in age appropriate roles. I don't know. It's just funny.
Well, I've told this story before, but it's too good not to tell it again. I had a friend in college who he was actually my RA. I don't know if we were friends, but he was an actor and he was in all the plays and we did, I'm trying to think of what we did. We did like, You Can't Take It With You and Harvey and whatever. And he was always the male lead, which was in the real life versions of those, not all of them, but several of the shows we did were Jimmy Stewart parts. Like he was like a wholesome all-American kid, but he was like, 20 years old or whatever. but he always played it as if he was like a 50-year-old man. Like he was like, I'm Jimmy Stewart. I'm going to play it like Jimmy Stewart. I'm doing Jimmy Stewart. This is, well, let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
So he was friends with a kid who went to our school who was part of the Kennedy family. I don't know if you're familiar with the Kennedys, Joe and John and President. And, yeah. Coming back apparently to run for vice president with Donald Trump or something. I don't know.
What does that even mean? Why?
And the one guy is such a huge anti-vaxxer, whatever. But anyway, this guy was like, knew an agent out in LA and was like, you should meet with him and you can be a movie.
And his like audition was like, I'm an old guy.
It wasn't even that. No. It was even, I think it's even better than that because it wasn't an audition. It was just a meeting. Like he walked into this meeting with this agent. Like imagine the agent's there. He's smoking a cigar. The way agent was like, so tell me about yourself. And this guy that I knew was like, well, I'm I went to school back east and I was in all the plays and my specialty is really like Jimmy Stewart parts. Like I play old men. And the agent just goes,
get out.
He goes, let me tell you something. This is Hollywood. If we need an old man, we cast a fucking old man.
He's not wrong.
And this guy got on a plane, flew back east, and went into finance. That was it. He was done.
Oh
no. So anyway, I love that story. Station 11. So you're at the movies.
Oh yeah, we're at the movies. I had to kind of consciously make the decision. I am not going to freak out about anything because it could have gone one or two ways, like seeing people maskless or not.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm safe. I'm surrounded by safety. It is what it is. And I had a great time. I got emotional multiple times. Again, I don't know if it was
about what was going on screen or about.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just like I'm at the movies, like this is actually happening. But also it was really good. Steven Spielberg knows how to direct a film and
he knows how to tell a story too.
And there was good dancing. That is something that drives me up the fucking wall. I think that's why I have such a hard time with La La Land specifically.
I've never seen it.
If you're going to do a musical with dance in it, have your leads be able to motherfucking dance. Like, or just don't do it.
Right.
Like, and they did that. There would be people having the most intense acting drama scene, and then they would dance incredibly. And I like got emotional. I was like, it's possible. Like
they're treating my favorite art form with respect.
Yes. And it was beautiful, and yeah. I liked it. I giggled. I cried. The whole gamut. And then when we left, here's the interesting part. It's not.
Thank God you got to the interesting part.
When we left, we walked down that huge set of stairs, and at the very bottom was Dave Child and Julia Prescott. Like they had seen a different movie, but it was so bizarre for me and my brain to have like not left the house, gone out for the first time, and then in all of the city, in all of like to run into
in all the gin joints in all the world, she had to walk into this one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, it's a small world ravaged by a pandemic. This is crazy. Yeah.
And we were all like, it's so good to see you. We aren't good at doing this anymore.
Yeah. I was going to say, how did you react to that? Because like, if you had seen those guys in real life before this, you would hug, you would, you know, whatever you would talk about the last time you'd seen each other, when you were going to see each other again.
We all stayed masked. We talked. We were excited to see each other. But I would say, I think in the before times, it would have just been like, oh, cool. But this time it was like, like it means something. Like I'm seeing you. And I said earlier, it was a 6:00 movie. We got in the car. We were driving home. It was like 9 p.m.
God, that's a long movie. 4.5 hours. I'm not good at math.
No, you're
Sorry.
not. And Lampy's like, do you want to go somewhere for a drink? And both Barbara and I were like, God, no. Like, it's so late. Like, we got to get home.
Not only is it so late, but I've been out of the house for so long. I need to be in my comfort zone right now.
I have to make sure that Jeff's okay, Smudgy's okay. I need to take off clothes.
I need to be
pajamas.
safe. Yeah.
That was the other thing. The whole time in the movie, I was like, I could use a blanket over me right now. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, really? It's cold?
Well, I'm just so used to like watching things like as snuggle-bug as possible.
I will say I am not the hugest West Side Story fan. Like if I had to rank all time, that would not be top of my list. But that said, I have such a specific connection to that show.
I remember
because of the Officer Krupke thing when I auditioned.
Well, that's
for
why
Larry
I was
David.
like, yes, you're familiar.
Right. No, the wife and I go to musical theater all the time, but I don't know. I've never heard of this West Side Story thing. Tell me about that. Not interested. Next. And what's funny about that scene is that you can see, like, that is there's so many funny scenes from Curb Your Enthusiasm up online, but that's definitely one that exists. Like you can see Mike Coleman playing Officer Krupke with Larry David, which always makes me happy that the scene exists and that it was somebody that I knew who got cast as the thing I tried out for, and he is super funny in it. Well, that's fun. That's great that you got to.
Yeah. It was a wild, granted we're older and there's a pandemic going on, but I was thinking about like, I have distinct memories of walking down the strip in Vegas after the sun has already risen. We've partied all night long with Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just funny for the two of us to be like, it's 9 p.m. Like, just like, what has happened to us?
Yeah, it has changed so many things. The other thing, and I don't know if they did this in this version, but I just remember as a kid being obsessed with the way the Jets and the Sharks moved when they were dancing. Like they did that weird thing where they kicked their legs behind each other, it wasn't really a skip, but it wasn't really a leap. It was just like, I don't know. It was just a funny, I always thought that was a hilarious style of movement for fierce gangs to use,
Totally.
Well, that's cool. What movie are you going to see this week?
Nothing on the docket.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What's going on with you, Sean? Checking in.
So here's what I would like to do. This happened last week where I read a thing that I had tweeted.
Oh yeah, what Trump thing relates back to me?
Right. No. This is a different segment. This is a segment because
wow. How many segments are there?
There's new segments all the time. I started that sentence and I forget what I was going to say because I got so obsessed with having more coffee. I know what I was going to say. The Olympics are going on right now. Are you watching the Olympics at all?
Un poquito.
Okay. Yeah. I don't watch the Olympics. I realized I don't care. Like it's not something that interests me. Those particular sports, for the most part, don't interest me. The nationalism doesn't interest me. I don't.
And it's also so strange to watch it. And it's just like the sport happening in a vacuum. Like it is weird without a crowd and without. Mm-hmm. We watched a little bit of luging, and it was funny.
Watch your mouth.
Because we were just like, this guy's doing a bad job. Like, how could you do
this? Guy shouldn't be doing the luge. He's a skeleton guy.
He went up and he shouldn't have gone up. Like,
like gravity and inertia and who
and like
understands
point your toes at the right time. I guess I don't know.
Going up too high on the wall,
but I do like that about Olympic sports because I've seen it in multiple people where it could be something you've never seen before in your life. Mm-hmm. And you watch it for 10 minutes and you're like, that guy, like you're suddenly the arbiter of what is good and what is bad. Right.
The diver splashed too much. That was too big of a splash.
I hate to see it.
Well, that relates back to what I was going to do, which is I want to read. So you know that in a previous lifetime, I was a comedian of some sort. I did comedy. I performed. I performed comedy on a regular basis. I wrote what is called jokes. I wrote some jokes. And so I wrote some, they're not even really jokes. They're just dumb, I guess, puns for the most part. No, they're like puns, but I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, like Bazooka Joe. But I thought that, so I wrote these at 5:30 this morning and I tweeted all of them. And what I would like to do is read them out loud because, who knows who follows me on Twitter, and you know how Twitter works. Like 4 people see your tweet or whatever. And I thought I would read these out loud and you can give me a score on each one.
Oh, like the Olympics?
Yeah. Okay. Like 9.4. Like you did the compulsories, but there was no, there was nothing
level
beyond
of difficulty
that.
Was high.
Right. So
I'm nervous though.
No, there's no pressure. I mean, that's the thing. Like, think about how many friendship ender. I made her grade my jokes and I did not like the grades I got. And that was it. We were done. No, but this is what it's related to is, and I'm sure you've heard about this, or maybe you haven't. Yesterday in the news was a whole thing about Georgia Congressperson Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a bit of a strange bird, and
a nice way of putting it.
Was owned a CrossFit gym and has some radical ideas about what's going on. And she said something yesterday about Nancy Pelosi. Like, I don't even have the quote in front of me, but it was like Nancy Pelosi, and she meant to say Nancy Pelosi and her Gestapo.
But
she said gazpacho. Yeah, she was like Nancy Pelosi and her gazpacho. And then they tried to turn it into
so good.
Then they tried to turn it into like Tom Massey is another fucking lunatic like her, just a shithead representative. I forget where he's from, but I might be, I don't know if it's Georgia, North Carolina, someplace like that. And they tried to turn it into a joke. They said something about goulash, whatever. But anyway, and
also,
of course,
still not the same. Like,
well, but that's a whole other issue that I may or may not get into. But yes, this was a soup. I did a soup run, basically.
Oh no!
But
the scores have already dropped.
This might be our last time speaking in person ever.
And we're not in person.
I know it's not even. We ended our friendship over Zoom live on air for the podcast.
Just close my laptop.
The episode is called The Last Click.
The click heard round the world.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited actually. I love soup. I'm a big soup fan.
Soup is great. I love soup too. I don't eat nearly enough soup. I feel like soup is underrated as a food and understocked in my
life.
Larder. I was going to say larder, but sure, my life as well. Is larder the right word? I think it is.
Does that mean pantry?
So anyway, I think it's the same thing. I could be wrong. I love using words that are a little obscure, but I always have to look them up, and I always have to go. And I'm right every time, but I'm never sure that I'm right. But I think larder means like pantry.
I always have soups in my pantry, but I want to make.
Forget the click heard round the world. The new title is I always have soups in my pantry.
I do. I really like soup. But I want to get better at I feel like making soup isn't that difficult.
You're saying instead of buying Campbell's whatever.
I'm not buying Campbell's.
Well, good soups, yes. By the way, a larder is a room or large cupboard for storing food.
Oh, okay. A pantry.
Yes. Synonyms: pantry, non-working refrigerator. So you're going to score my soup. Like I said, they're not really jokes. they're what Marjorie Taylor Greene would tweet involving soup. So the first one was Nancy Pelosi and
that changes everything. So is this from the POV?
Yes.
Okay. That's good to know for my scoring.
Right. So the intention is this is where she's getting words wrong because she keeps introducing
So you want it
soups.
to be bad on some level.
I don't know. You're the judge. You have to figure out how this works.
I wish I had a score.
But they're written in character as a Georgia congressperson who is a CrossFit person, who is a lunatic who doesn't understand the difference between some words and their soup equivalents.
Okay.
All right. Here's the first one. They're not in any particular order. I think some of them are better than others, but
that's for me to decide, not you.
Yes, it is. That's true.
I don't like this job.
The radical leftist, socialist, Marxist left must not be allowed to continue their vichyssoise attacks.
Okay. I'll allow it.
Allow it? You got to grade it.
9. I'll give it a 9 because it also washed over me in a way that I was like,
right.
Where's the pun? Oh, there it is.
Right. But now you understand the concept. Let me read it one more time and see if the score goes up.
I got it.
The radical leftist, socialist, Marxist left must not be allowed to continue their vichyssoise attacks.
Yeah, 9.
Okay.
I would say for level of difficulty and seamlessness and also inaccuracy, because that is, we want it to be inaccurate, right? In this.
Oh yeah, that you disagree with her statement?
That I disagree, and it's the wrong use of that word.
Right. That she's using the word vichyssoise instead of vicious. Yes.
Yeah, 9. 9's across the board.
Okay.
Question judge, everybody.
Right. Okay. Let's see. I hope
I didn't want to go 10 because I want to have
right room to grow. Right. Here's another one. The great American patriots of January 6th had a legitimate beef and Barley got to express it.
That is okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is tough.
What if you just go 4?
No, it is across the board better than the last one, but less in the voice of Marjorie.
Okay.
Because it's clever. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. I don't know if I would characterize it as clever.
Well,
it's like a typo, you know? All right. So what's the score?
So I'll say 9.3.
9.3. Okay. What's funny also about these scores is like,
it made me laugh. Like it genuinely made me laugh.
But what's funny about these scores also, and I think this is true in the Olympics as well, is like, if you suck, you get a 9. Like there's nobody who's like walking around with like 4s, you know?
Right. Well, you made it to the Olympics.
This could be a 4.
Okay. I can't wait.
I was there at the great patriotic celebration on January 6th, and I can tell you the weather that day was a little bisque.
It might be a 4.
All right, fair enough.
And could I tell you why, or do you not want?
No, please, absolutely. You can't grow unless you know why things are the way they are.
I would say the soup pun isn't like integral to an idea. Like it's literally talking about the weather.
It's reaching. It's reaching to get to the pun as opposed to making a point. Yeah. Yes. Like the beef and barley was like making a specific point.
That's our number one right now.
This is like, yeah, but that's the problem with these kind of jokes is that you do have to kind of reach on something.
Right.
You know,
because like, why would she say like I was there and the weather
was yeah. Believe me, she says a lot of shit that we have no idea why she's saying it. Here's another one. We'll see. The Marxist, radical, socialist, leftist left should not be allowed to continue their relentless bullying. So that's not a total reach. Like that is
No. I'm gonna give that a solid 9.
Solid 9. Okay.
Yeah, that's like the first. It's on the par with the first one.
Okay.
I would say.
Now, do you know about this thing where the Republican National Committee came out and said that January 6th was legitimate political discourse, and everybody's been all up in arms about that?
Yes, I am.
Which they have the right to be, because we do have a right to bear arms, so it's okay to be up in arms. So this is her next one. She says, like I'm disembodying from it.
You said none of this, by the way.
The statement by the righteous red-blooded RNC had nothing to do with me, so I have no comment. Some of them you just have to go for it, you know?
I like it. I don't think it's beating Beef and Barley in my book. Also, would she distance herself from it?
Well, she's saying they're righteous and red-blooded, so I think she's like on board with them,
right? But
also she doesn't want to. But you're right. In real life, this reads like something the character would not say.
It just doesn't ring true.
It doesn't feel like the character. No.
I feel like my character wouldn't say this.
By the way, that's accurate because it is a fucking character. And then the rest of them, well, I'm gonna switch the order a little bit. So this is the next one.
The rest of them.
There's 24. There's 24 more. I always make sure my computer has enough ROM and then I use it.
That's the dumbest. So 10s across the board. It's not political.
Oh, okay, great. So that's a 10. Great.
Yes. Also, are people worried about like their RAM?
Yeah, I don't I don't know computers. I just was like, how do I use this word? I mean, by the way, this is the first 4 years I did improv. This was how it worked. Like you had to make jokes. And when you do it in front of an audience in the moment, they're like, it's like a magic trick. They're like, how did they do that?
Yeah. Well, also you get instant feedback. So you get
right.
You get good.
Right, here's another one. There's 2 more. This country has been great since the day the great patriotic American pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock in New England clam chowder.
So dumb. I was like, I know it's gonna be clam chowder from like the beginning. I feel like that's a 10. I'll give it a, because I laughed. I don't know. I feel like it's like a 9.4.
Okay. I'll take it. Here's the last one.
Oh my God, I'm nervous.
I am too, because I feel like I'm really putting myself on the line here.
What are the stakes?
Good point. Who cares? It's
life is meaningless.
We're gonna die. Look. Okay, so here it goes. Again, Marjorie Taylor Greene, congressperson from Georgia, very into patriotism and the fact that Joe Biden is a Marxist socialist. This is the last one she would say. It's perfectly safe to hide inside a potato during a hurricane as long as you don't let the potato leak. So that was a 10, I think, right?
That's gonna be like a 3, my friend. But how did I guess I could just check. I could go to the videotape, but how did these do on Twitter?
Not great. Nobody cares. Like nobody gives a shit. You know?
Well, also because it's in the voice of someone who feels politically opposite of you, and it's parroting a very, I don't know, like
it's too narrow. The area is too narrow. You're saying
it works if people are on board, but if like someone just gets one of these with no context, it could be a little bit like,
right. I did not. Are you insane? I did not. First of all, I didn't explain any of it, and second of all, I just said at the bottom, like I quoted it, and then at the bottom it just said a Georgia congressperson. Like I didn't even say it was in reference to Nancy Pelosi. I didn't.
Right.
So you have to be like somebody who obsesses over Twitter and watches all the things and whatever.
That's my favorite thing about Twitter is if you're not on it for like 2 days, you come back on and people are like parroting the takes of some, like it's so many steps away from like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all the discourse is very like, we all clearly know this issue and our opinion has evolved like 6 times. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. All right. Why don't we take a break for a minute and then we'll come back and we'll do parting shots. Does that sound reasonable? Hey, it's Sean. Thanks for listening. I mentioned at the top of the episode that maybe you might think about donating to some worthy cause. So here's a couple you can donate to. The first one is called neveragain.com. Or that's the website. It's not called that. Neveragain.com is the kids from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, who organized a group active in the fight for gun control. This is what it says on the first page of their website. The time for action is now. Never before has there been such momentum among the young people of our country as now to prevent future school shootings. The tragedy at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, has awoken a new generation to the threat of gun violence in America. They will lead the fight to protect children from future mass shootings in schools and rally to the cry, never again. And if you go to that website, you can donate to them. The other one I mentioned was the Gabby Giffords organization. If you go to giffords.org, giffords.org, and again, it says on the front page of that website, our mission. Our country is in the grip of a gun violence epidemic. Every American will know a victim of gun violence in their lifetime. This is not normal, and it doesn't have to be this way. Giffords is fighting to end the gun lobby's stranglehold on our political system. We're daring to dream what a future free from gun violence looks like. We're going to end this crisis, and we're going to do it together. So if you go to their page, you can donate. You can also do other things, like learn more and get in touch with them and get involved. So all of those are possible actions you could take, just because I'm riled up right now. Or you don't have to do any of that stuff. And if you do some of that stuff, let us know. mailbag@longshotpodcast.com. If you have another organization that you would like for us to plug, let us know at that email address. Also, I think there are a couple of emails in that email address that we have never gotten to. So if one of those is yours, I'm specifically looking at you, Scott. We will get to that. But otherwise, yeah. Now back to our show.
We're back.
We're back.
And it's that time that everybody loves.
People love this part of the show because they know it's going to be over soon.
Yeah, like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have done this off the air, but were you just doing a bit because you're like, oh, you'll hear about what's going on with me, and then you just did soup puns, so it doesn't seem like I heard what was going on with you.
I think when I said that, I was anticipating the stuff I talked about at the beginning about texting with my
your brother.
Yeah.
That makes sense now. It's coming back to me.
Yeah. You totally erased that, and you were just like, I don't know what's going on with him. He talked about fucking soup puns for an hour. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Don't let the potato leak. Oh my God. Bazooka Joe would shoot himself in the face with a bazooka if he ever put that one in there.
So you can't hide in a potato. What is she even talking about?
Talk about a reach. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, like, those kind of, not to obsess about those puns, but like, I swear to God, when we used to do like short form improv, there's a way to do those kind of jokes that you can
there's like a
them on stage of like
to them almost.
Yeah. And also, but also like you're on board with the audience knowing how shitty the joke is. Mm-hmm. So they're like, on your side. Yeah. Like there's just a million. And it's so funny to think that that was my entire, I mean, there was other aspects to it as well, but a lot of that type of stuff was just about that kind of joke. And that was years of comedy, you know? And like, now I look at it, I'm like, what was the fucking point of
it? Got you here. It got you here.
Here I am, baby. And by the way, I'm not going to give away all the details, but Amber and I were just having a really interesting conversation off air.
Yeah, we save all the good stuff. Yeah. We could talk. I don't know. Whatever.
No.
I'll follow you.
I don't want to. But I will say, just to one more point about this Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff, is the gazpacho thing. This is what's funny about Twitter to me, and this is kind of what you were saying before. She says the thing about gazpacho instead of Gestapo, and everybody goes, "What the fuck? She's an idiot!" And that's all everybody is talking about. And somebody was like, she's doing it on purpose. Like, she's a master manipulator. Like,
it's like a magician where it's like, look over here.
Yeah. And but also just, she's getting her name in the news. The people who are like, I watched, like I said, I wrote this shit at 5:30 this morning. Like, I just woke up and I was like, I don't know if you ever do this. I do this sometimes to my detriment, but I like wake up and look at Twitter or whatever, and there was a thing there.
No, because you told me not to. I don't look at the internet for 2 hours.
Do as I
you told me
as
not
I
to.
do. Yes. Well, I'm glad that worked.
Honestly, I recommend it.
Yes, 100%. But so I woke up and I saw that and I was like, it was one of those moments where I was like, I'm inspired.
I can't not.
Yeah, like I'm just going to do this. So I was up at 5:30 in the morning.
Leak, you know what I mean? Like
that was the apex. Like, that was the first one I thought of, and I was like, it's going to build this fucking genius joke about what you do in a hurricane. You hide inside a potato. But
it's very like children's book.
Everyone, there's a hurricane coming. Quickly, we must get to the potato tree. But I had, what did I have on? Something. Morning Joe, I guess. One of the MSNBC, the guy who used to be a congressman, used to be a Republican, and now he's
just
very
treading that water. Just drowning.
But that's all they talked about for 20 minutes was Marjorie Taylor Greene and what an idiot she was, And what that means is that she can then turn around and use that to say, mainstream media is attacking me. Please send money,
Well, and that thing of like, any press is good press.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds really, I don't know.
It sounds like a bygone era when there actually was press, when there was like printing press.
I think there's something to that. Like, we're talking about her, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Attention is attention is attention is attention.
I am going to donate to Gabby Giffords' fund tonight, but I'm also going to donate to Marjorie Taylor Greene because
and a soup kitchen.
She's very present. Yeah. Soup kitchen and a hurricane relief fund. But the hurricane relief fund donation is just going to be cans of potato leek soup.
You better include a can opener because
All right. Well, we always like to end the show with a segment we like to call parting shots. So why don't we start today with Amber?
Oh no!
Oh, I can start. No, that's
you
fine.
start. You start.
This is I'm trying to work this out in my head because, like, I've told you before that I send out this newsletter on a regular basis, and I'm trying to write a thing in my newsletter this week. And because this is the year of the worm, I am
which worm?
The bookworm. I am reading. I'm still reading that Nick's book. I'm reading a bunch of other stuff. One of the things I'm reading.
Is it just like boners?
Yes. Blood in the Garden, the story of Xavier McDaniel's boner. But I'm reading a book called The Steal by a guy named Mark Bowden and somebody else. I don't remember who the other one is, but Mark Bowden is just one of those guys. He's like a nonfiction writer, like a reporter who writes long form nonfiction. He wrote, the most famous thing he wrote was Black Hawk Down, about the problem in Somalia in the early 90s. And he's written a bunch of other stuff since then. So he wrote The Steal, which is basically what happened from Election Day to January 6th.
Oh, wow.
What was going on with all these people that whatever. And it's kind of fascinating because, you know, I don't cotton to their point of view. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not down with the January 6th insurrectionists, but
no one thought that.
But it's almost like I can't even imagine how somebody would think all of this stuff is true. And he has clearly talked to a lot of these people.
That you're like, oh, I can see.
It still makes absolutely I don't see it. It still makes absolutely no sense. But you see how fucked up people are, right? So basically, it starts with 2016, where Trump is going, the election is rigged. The election is rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. And during one of the debates, they go, are you going to accept the results of the election? And he goes, I'll have to see. I don't know. And everybody goes, oh my God, we've never had this before. He's saying whatever. Then he wins. And he's like, yeah, it's rigged. It was rigged. It was still rigged.
I should have won by more.
Yeah, I should have won by more.
Yeah, that was insane. I was like,
there was a whole commission formed to find out who was cheating.
But also, why do you think it's rigged before it happened? Like that logic doesn't track.
But I think the way his brain works is he has to anticipate an off ramp of, like, if I do lose,
there's a reason
people need to know that it wasn't because of me, it was because of this other thing, whatever. So he starts undermining the whole procedures, whatever. Yeah. So come 2020, people are like, the president says it's rigged. We got to figure out if this is rigged. If it's rigged, we got to stop it from being rigged. You know what? Let's go down to the polling place and see if it's rigged. So they go to the polling place, and it's something they've never seen before. They don't know what's going on.
What is it supposed to look like? Yeah.
They don't know. And instead of going, this is something I've never experienced, could someone explain this to me? They all just go, this is fucking crazy. This is definitely rigged. There's people, I don't know what they're doing. It should be clearer what's happening right now. It is rigged. He's right. It's rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. Then they go to the voting officials, oftentimes Republican Party members, and say, this is rigged. What's going on? Can you explain what's going on? And the Republican official goes, take a breath. It's not rigged.
Yeah.
This is what's going on here. These are whatever. And
that official got elected. Like, how is it rigged just for one office?
Who knows? But here's this, like, it just keeps, like, the Republican official goes, I'm a Republican. I voted for Trump. I love Trump. I'm on your side. This is all above board. Like, nothing is going on.
You're an insider.
That's exactly it. Yeah. They go, you're in on it. You're one of them. You're the deep state. You're a motherfucker, you know? And it just goes, like, every level is they're in on it. They're in on it. They're in on it. They're stealing the election. Like, there's just nothing behind any of it. Right. There's no substance to it. It's fucking crazy. So anyway.
Well, and it's like, you can't do anything because they're going to confirm their beliefs.
It doesn't matter. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what you say. Whatever you say is
you either become an enemy or
yeah. I mean, there's so much. Anyway, it's really interesting to me anyway. But what this started making me think was, obviously the world is in a dire situation right now in a lot of ways, but I'm speaking specifically about climate change and whether or not it's too late to do anything.
I was just thinking about that.
Mm-hmm. And roll with me on this.
Okay.
I think the only person alive who could save the earth at this point
is Donald Trump.
Let me explain.
No, I get it. I'm ahead of you. I'm 4 steps ahead of you. So shut up.
What about this? So Trump, I think, and I'm sure other people have this theory too, but I don't know it for a fact.
So we should vote for him in the next election.
Just roll with me. See where I go with this, and tell me please poke holes in my theory. But this is my theory. Donald Trump has 2 superpowers. He's stupid. He's a racist. He's sexist. He's a sadist. He's a psychopath.
He cheats people.
He's the worst person alive.
Yeah.
But he's 2 things that he's incredibly good at. The first is making people angry.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're angry at him or on his behalf.
Everyone's angry.
You're just super fucking angry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he can, I mean, his whole goal in life
rile people
is to rile people up. That's exactly the word I would use. Is he's an excellent, he's a riler. He's a grand riler, he's great at riling.
He's a Rottweiler.
You want
in your face.
2. Russian judge says 2.
It's not a soup, but
Ukrainian judge says, why am I sitting next to the Russian judge? But yeah, he'll rile is, his rile is as good as the day is long. Yeah. His other superpower is convincing people that things that are not true, that he knows are not true, are true. So this is where it gets tricky. He knows that climate change is not true, that it's not real.
Okay. So we're doing like a multi-level.
Yes. So
if opposite day situation.
If he chose to take his belief that climate change is not true and go, this would really upset a lot of people. If I said climate change was true, I could rile the fuck out of a lot of people. Mm-hmm. The people who are on my side would be riled because they've been on my side as far as climate change all this time. And the people who are against me would be riled because they're like, A, why didn't you say something sooner? And B, how do I have to be on this motherfucker's side right now? This is really upsetting. This is a guy I hate more than anybody alive. So he could get everybody so angry and so into the idea that climate change is real, mm-hmm. which is something he does not believe, just as he doesn't
just to
really
prove to himself that he could do it.
Yeah. Anyway, I just was like going down this logic path, and I was like, he could be the person. There's a show on Disney Plus that is a Marvel show that is, I think it's called What If or something, and it's like, what if Superman, ate a banana one morning and it made a butterfly go up in South America? Like, it's alternate histories of superheroes. And I was like, I would love to see a what if episode where Donald Trump saves the world.
I don't mean to be the pessimist in this.
Yes. No, that's why I say, like, please poke. See, here's the thing. I think I said this earlier, like, this is an idea I have that I'm trying to work out in terms of writing this newsletter. And like, I'm going to send that out before this episode comes out. So I will have landed on a conclusion by then either way. So yes, please poke
Because
holes.
I think you're absolutely right. It's missing one crucial piece.
Mm-hmm.
How does he make money off of it?
Right.
It sounds glib, but like, what does he have to gain?
No. I think you're absolutely right. That is the piece. If there was a piece that made sense there,
if he somehow bet against the oil companies or something.
I think it could be as simple as if he came up with a good slogan, like not Trump that bitch, but like Trump that son, or whatever, Trump that like some good slogan. That's what it needs, that he could put on a t-shirt and sell 100 million t-shirts and make, t-shirts you can sell for $30 at this point. And if you make $15 times 100 million, that's like $40 million, and he would walk away. I'm not good at math, but he would walk away with a lot of money,
Yeah. Talking about climate change, it's been very warm. It was in the 80s today.
Crazy.
And it's been lovely. Like I'm going for walks. I'm like, oh, this is so nice. But then I do have that like, oh no, like what does this mean for
it's February,
the world, and what will the summer look like if I'm in t-shirts and shorts in the beginning of February? Like, what the fuck is August gonna be like?
I was just in here today, and at like 6 p.m, I was like, it feels really warm to me right now. And I looked at the thermostat stat, whatever the thing is that you have in your house.
Hamster.
Yeah. And I looked at it and it said 80 degrees. And I was like, oh, it is warm in here. Like, it's crazy warm.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't look up. Anyway, my point is Donald Trump could be a hero if we elect him to the White House again.
Out of context.
Out of context. I thought we weren't going to talk about that on air. All right. Parting shots. Amber.
Yeah, I feel like I talked about this last podcast, but I'm going to talk about it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I've leveled up my bath game.
Nice.
I ordered CBD THC bath bomb.
Is that the No Scrubs group from the 90s?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The No Scrubs group. So I was obsessed with TLC in junior high. Like I listened to Crazy Sexy Cool.
It was a great album. They were fantastic. I was obsessed with it too when I was teaching junior high. That's, you could have been one of my students.
And once we got smudgy, it became like a thing where we were talking about what our family Halloween costume would be.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do that. That's not a thing. But at one point we were talking about being TLC, and Jeff said that Smudgy would be Left Eye. He would be oh no. T-Boz, and I would be Chili. And I got like offended. I have to be the boring one. And then he's like, and he was like, you want our puppy to not be the star? Like, because I was always such a Left Eye fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so sad that she's gone. Anyway.
Did you consider any other like, can I just pitch a few ideas?
I would love. Is it all suit related?
How about if Jeff is Minestrone, you're Stone, and I don't know. No. I was going to pitch. First of all, here's one.
I love it.
You guys are the first triumvirate: Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus.
Okay.
Before
who is who?
I would say Smudgy should be Caesar. Smudgy's the star.
Yeah.
Jeff could be Pompey because Pompey was very successful as a general, and got away for a while, and Caesar had to track him down and whatever. And then you could be Crassus, who was just very wealthy, and that was all Crassus had going on.
Like no personality.
Yeah, the boring one. Or here's another one. Tinkers and Evers and Chance.
I don't know what you're saying.
Tinker to Evers to Chance. It's like a famous poem.
Taylor, Soldier Spy.
No, Tinker to Evers to Chance. They were, I don't remember what team they played for, but it was a poem that somebody wrote about a baseball team in the first half of the 20th century, like probably the 30s or the 40s. And Tinker to Evers to Chance was the shortstop, the second baseman, and the first baseman.
Those are great names.
Yes. And it was like, no such thing as this, the dance, this Tinkers to Evers to Chance. Like they were just really good at turning double plays, basically, was the point of the. It's not great poetry, but it was like a very. It
sounds really good.
And it was probably somebody like Grantland Rice or somebody who wrote the poem. But anyway, so it was the shortstop, the second baseman.
Okay,
and the
so
first
who would
baseman.
I be?
Who do you? Let me ask you.
Wait, Smudgy would be the shortstop.
Correct, because the shortstop is the flashiest.
The first baseman, and I would be the second baseman.
I think you might be right. It's debatable because for two reasons on either side. The first is the second baseman is on the right side of the infield, and that means they only get balls hit their way. Not only, but most of the time they only get balls hit their way by a lefty batter.
Yeah.
And that's the minority of batters. Like it's less people are left-handed than right-handed. So second base is generally speaking, a boring position.
Well, and first base, you're like getting people out right away.
Right.
Shortstop is very exciting. Second base, it's like if they get to you.
Correct. But here's why I would pitch, and I don't mean to use that term in two contexts because we're talking about an idea and also about baseball. What am I, Marjorie Taylor Greene's gag writers? But I would pitch that in this particular situation, Tinker to Evers to Chance, Evers, who is the second baseman, has to cover second base because somebody is running to second base from first base and get there ahead of the person running, catch the ball, jump over the person who is trying to slide into him and take him out.
Oh, that's Smudgy.
And fire down to first. No, I think Smudgy is definitively the shortstop.
Okay, great.
The shortstop is always the hot shot on the team. But in this case, it would be Jeff would be Evers because he would have to turn.
And then I'm the boring first baseman.
And you're the first baseman who just like catch. Yeah. Maybe you have to stretch a little bit to catch because the throw isn't right on, but you don't have to worry about being spiked. You don't have to get in a fight with somebody because they spiked you, which happens sometimes at second base. So anyway, I think it could go either way, but I think ultimately it would be Smudgy was Tinker, Jeff was Evers, and you were Chance. So anyway, you didn't do your TLC costume.
No, I ordered from a dispensary a THC
right.
CBD bath bomb. And it was incredible. Like I highly recommend it.
Good to know.
But yeah, do you bath? Do you bathe?
Do I? No, not interested.
You should.
No, it's funny. I just read a thing. There's a newsletter I get, which I read maybe 1 out of every 10 of them. But and again, this is a whole scam. But there's a whole scam now about Stoic philosophy. That this is how to live a good life. Be like the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius did this and this and this and whatever. And there's definitely something to a lot of it, but I don't hold to that. But there was a whole newsletter the other day about how the Romans used to. It was basically like, be still, be silent. Be still, be silent. Reflect on your thoughts, and that was what the Romans used to do in a Roman bath. Was like. Go in.
Also have sex with each other.
Quietly, give each other a hand job, sit in the middle of no scrubs. I mean, maybe you could scrub because it's bath time, but whatever you want to do.
But I And I feel like it's going to be a reoccurring ritual for me. And it's fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're living in times where it's hard to have things to hold on to that are good, like capital G good.
Mm-hmm.
But I ate a gummy, a pot gummy, and then I went in my CBD THC bath for an hour.
Wow.
I went in there for an hour, and it was incredible. It felt so good. It was. I came out feeling like I was at the spa all day. Like I felt like I had a massage. So I recommend it.
You were relaxed. You had gotten over your fears of West Side Story by then. Right.
But it was funny because then immediately I was like, oh, I have to take Smudgy for a walk. But I was just like in the neighborhood, like, hello.
Something's going on with that woman who walks her dog around the neighborhood. Do you see her? Look at the way she's walking. Yeah, she probably just got out of the bath.
Yeah. And Smudgy, he's Smudgy. I mean, today was okay, but yesterday in the morning, our neighbor was parked in the driveway.
Motherfucker.
He was inconsolable. Like he was just like, I don't think I could go for a walk. Like I don't.
That is aggressive. That's an aggressive move. You know, blocking the driveway like that.
He was upset.
I get it. I'd be upset too. You know,
it's like this is not how it normally is.
No.
So he wouldn't even like leave our neighborhood. He's like, "Can we go back inside?" I was like, "Sure."
Change is hard, especially during times like this. You know.
Yeah. His whole life.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's our show. So, please donate to something.
To soup puns.
I can't believe. Yeah, I think my scores should have been higher, but
they were so high. You got a 10 and all 9s.
It wasn't one of them a 4. Yeah. That was.
But that was fair.
I might stew on that all week. We'll see. Well, I'm just saying stew because it's not the same thing as soup. It's close, but it's not the same.
No, it's heartier.
Yeah.
It's more of a meal. It's manlier.
Right. Folks, follow us on Twitter at Longshot Podcast. Tweet at The Longshot Podcast and tell them what's up.
Goodbye.
That's it.
Oh, see ya.
You've got to sing it on your own time, or at least when I'm out of town. You know you're gonna have to buy me jewelry now. There are boxes in the attic, they are flattened from unpacking, and I'll tape them back together for this. I don't care about your boots no more, and I don't care how many ways there are to leave you. I am picking the first one, and I will know by the number of steel guitars on your next endeavor how sad you are. But if your lips are any softer, I'd fall right through. If your lips are any softer, I'd fall right through. If your lips are any softer, I'd fall right through. And if your lips are any softer,